Ladies and gentlemen, good evening one more time to a new episode of Arab TV. This is your host, Said Faranso, and I'm with you in a new journey into the talents of the Arab American community in the Bay Area. My guest today is Rasha Khatib. She's a Palestinian American and she's here to tell us about a passion that she has, a passion so much befitting the nature of this part of Northern California. Welcome, Rasha.
Hi.
First, I would like to say welcome to California for the simple fact that you just said that you came here 6 months ago. Is that right?
Yes, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Awesome. Start by telling us and the audience a little bit about yourself, a background.
Yeah. So I'm a web developer. I studied computer system engineering. I actually didn't work within development. I had my own startup back in Palestine, which involved entrepreneurship. We had a co-working space that provides the tools and whatever an entrepreneur needs to work on their ideas. And then I moved from this to working in marketing and social media strategies for 2 years. And then when I graduated, I was like, I'm not working with something I'm passionate about, and I decided that it's more interesting to actually think of an idea and then build it. So I decided to go back to web development, which is what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. So you're a graduate from Palestine.
Yes, from Birzeit University in Ramallah specifically.
Okay. Now I'm gonna be sarcastic a little bit. See, I came from Iraq, and when I tell people that I'm a graduate of medical school in Baghdad, Iraq, they say, "Oh, there are colleges over there, there are universities." So I'm going to ask you the same question in a sarcastic manner. Oh, there's tech business in there, and there's colleges, and
Yes, there is. I actually this was something I was shocked about when the way people look at Palestine. I came here before to talk about my startup. Like my first trip to the U.S. was to talk about my startup. It was a talk in Sunnyvale or something. And then when I started talking to people, their idea of Palestine was camels and tents and a desert and nothing. I was. The problem is the friend who told me that was actually from Palestine, like originally from Palestine, but she never went there. Her parents are from there, and she never knew like that we have technology there, and we have startups, and we have all of this. So my focus in the presentation was to actually, I brought so many images and photographs of my daily life there. And they were so fascinating by it. Even though for me it was like something normal, they didn't know about that. And I started talking about startups, about my friends who have their own ideas and who are passionate and who want to do something with their lives and who want to contribute to the Palestinian economy and all of these things. And I had so many questions after that, and it was like, seriously, we have Google. You have to go there and know more about Palestine. We have a normal life, like not very normal, but we have universities. The technology is actually like the main thing in Palestine to me, because there are no borders there. There are no checkpoints when you work.
you mean in the digital world?
Yeah, there are no checkpoints. It doesn't matter that you can't move from one place to another because you have your laptop and you could do whatever you want with it. So
sounds great. You're actually giving us a hint of what it looks like with the enthusiasm that I see sparkling from your eyes. It is interesting, and to tell you the truth, it's not just interesting in U.S. media, but also for other Arabs who haven't had the chance to get into Palestine to see what's inside. You telling me that there is a whole tech world inside these walls is a fascinating thing. Can you tell me about how advanced this tech world have gone, and whether its relations with the Israeli counterpart and the fact that Israel is considered a hub for the tech industry in the Middle East helped in that, or kind of in a way worked against it?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that we're there's gonna be a Google or Facebook coming out of Palestine in the next few years. But I would say that we're working towards that, and that we're going in that direction, because a couple of years ago, when I think about it, my friends and nobody around me, even including myself, thought about having their own thing. We just thought about, okay, we're gonna graduate, then we're gonna get a job, and then just experiencing a few things, going into the voluntary world, and starting to build this passion towards something and loving something you want to do. Like, started creating this thing of, you know what, I want to create my own job. I don't want somebody to tell me what I should do. And it started in a Startup Weekend event that was actually, sadly, in Israel. Like, this was my first Startup Weekend. Even though I was like against any interaction between us and the Israelis, just because of how it is used in the media, not because I'm against anything, but it's used in the media as Palestinian and Israelis love each other, there's nothing wrong there, and everything is going perfectly. That's how they use it in the media, and I'm against that. So this was like one of my first and last events because I hated it there. I spent it like doing interviews about peace, and I didn't care about peace back then because I was at an event that required me to build a startup, and that's what my focus was. And they were totally like driving it into a political way. So for me, I didn't want to be involved in anything regarding that, like in any Israeli event after that. But I formed an idea because of the Startup Weekend structure. And I was so proud of myself that I finally have something to work on, I want to work on, and I came up with. So after that, I started like looking for a place to work from. And that's how Bazinga came. Like, me and my friends started this thing. Like, we were like, we need a place to work from, but like the cafes are not working. Like, there are noise, the internet sucks, we can't be productive here. So let's create our own. And that's how it started with us and with our friends.
And
that's
Bazinga
how
being?
Bazinga, the co-working place.
Okay.
Yeah, we were like, we don't have an office to work from, let's create our own office, our own personalized office, and make it available for everybody. And that's how it started. But after that, we started like doing all these events and seeing all these people so shy about sharing their ideas, and we started to push them. We actually created a startup-like event. The thing we attended, we wanted to emulate it in Bazinga, and that was like our first event. And it was awesome because it started with nobody wanting to go on the stage and say anything or talk about their ideas. And then like it started with us, like Bazinga team talking about ideas. And then everybody started jumping in, and we had like 35 ideas or something like that for people to form teams and work on.
Beautiful.
Which is awesome. I was just sitting there and smiling the whole time. I was so happy with this. And I could see like a couple of my friends getting out of their like shyness and going there and talking about their ideas and then forming teams, leading them, and then presenting and winning. And it was like absolutely beautiful.
So it wasn't a competition-like structure?
Yeah, it was a competition. Yeah, they had to present their ideas and win at the end. We had like three first places.
And can you give us an idea of what kind of like ideas or projects were presented in the contest?
Yeah, sure. One of them, the first, I still remember that. The first project that had the first place. I mean, it was like some sort of when you're working on a research or an article, while you're typing, it gives you results from Google. For images and related articles. So you could just drag and drop and use them in your article. And this was awesome because it was fully built in one night. Yeah, it was amazing to see like this kind of work in Bazinga. And the guy who worked on it like slept overnight. He actually didn't sleep. He stayed at Bazinga and he stayed till the morning just working on this. He didn't do anything else. So the second one, which was my friend that I was so proud of, she worked on this platform where you could, you know, how is it like in Palestine when you have to go to a university? You have to actually move out from your parents' house and look for a place to live in because of the checkpoints. It's not going to be like ideal to go, to go from one place to another. So she had this idea of actually, because it was painful, looking for those apartments on this platform, to have pictures and to have users' reviews. This is not like, it's not an original idea. It's out there, but it's not there in Palestine or even in the Arab world. And the way she thought about it, she had all these ideas integrated into the platform, and she did an amazing job presenting it. And she ended up taking the second place. Yeah. So these are some of the ideas there.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful. And
was
although,
awesome.
like you say, some of these ideas might not be innovative in the sense that they were made before, they were created before, but the fact that they were started in a place with no foundation whatsoever. I mean, I'm looking at an experiment like the second place winner you mentioned, and I'm thinking, who would participate as far as people's participation? Because a site like this would need active participation from people, both sides of the spectrum, people who offer their residences, their apartments for rent, and people who are looking for apartments. Both sides need to be aware that there's such a platform online, and they need to be comfortable with it. It's really a good news.
Yeah, it was awesome to see all of these people forming these ideas. And currently, actually, I'm seeing like my friends, like I'm following up their news on Facebook, and I'm seeing even more startups and more girls, which is like a big news for me, because I would be usually like the only girl in the room with all these guys. Like in some event, in a tech event, or in some gathering that's often like after work, which is at 6 or 7 p.m. And it's not really that, like cultural wise, you don't see many girls at this time doing some external activity. Like that has nothing to do with their work or with their university.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's just big news. I find a lot of girls now doing their own startups. One of them is doing like this online therapy website, which is doing very well. She started in Palestine, and it's just awesome to hear about these news.
Wow. So you took all these ideas and that energy that you have, and you came into the States, and luckily you came into the best part of it. So
Yes.
let's say how you did it.
Yeah, well, I was in a point where I actually, when I came to the US, I was in a point where I didn't know what I want to do anymore. Like I was so confused. I was so good at doing the social media strategies, and it was awesome to see that your strategy or that your marketing campaign did well. But it wasn't like, I didn't wake up in the morning saying, yay, I'm doing this today. So I was like, I'm not passionate about this. I want to do something else. And then I was like, why didn't I consider development? Like it was fun for me at a certain point, but I just like lost a track of what I want to do because I got into so many things, and I got into my startup, into the social media, and in a lot of voluntary groups. So I decided to give it a shot.
We're talking web development,
Yes,
right?
web development. And then when I decided to move majors, I got married and I moved to another location as well. My husband he was my partner in Pazinga, and he got a job at Google and moved here. So when we got married, I had to move. I didn't have any plans. I just know at that point, I knew that I want to do something else. And I started exploring, doing the development by actually going to take an online course. And I was in the US at that moment. I was visiting. I took an online course at udacity.com, an HTML5 course. And I actually ended up being part of a contest. And even though I was late, I managed to submit a game that I built from scratch. And I won for the most innovative game.
Ooh.
So it was big news for me. I was like, this is awesome. I loved the feeling. I loved how I built something. I was visualizing this in my brain, and I actually translated it into code that other people can see it. So I continued, and I started coming up with different ideas and doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how the transition came in, and that's how you moved from entrepreneurship and helping people into trying to come up with your own thing.
Yes.
I heard that you also try to help other people kind of launch their big ideas.
Well, I am actually ever since I came here, I'm trying to find I'm trying to build my network, because it was like a big difference between Palestine and here. In Palestine, I knew everybody. I was all over the place. I was always planning something. I loved it. Like I loved the community. I loved everything, even though at certain times I didn't love it so much, but I loved it there. And then I came here, I knew nobody except for my husband. That was like some sort of a shock for me. And I went on Meetup and I started going to different meetings. I went to see different voluntary opportunities. I participated at something called Technovation, which is for young girls in high school. The idea of it is to get them into technology by them coming up with an idea and actually building it. Coding, then building a business plan for it and submitting it for the contest. So currently I'm doing this. I'm mentoring these girls. And I came to realize that I'm really passionate about this, like, as well. Like, I'm passionate about coding, but I'm passionate about girls in technology as well. So I want to be more involved in this. And I'm actually building a website to build this support system for girls, because of the thing I noticed back in Palestine and here. Girls always need like the support system. They always need somebody to tell them they can do it, because they can see that it's a male dominant industry, and sometimes it's just like intimidating. I look at my husband and I'm like, he's so smart. He always has something to do and some brilliant idea. And sometimes I envy him. I'm like, I'm super jealous. And that's like what every other girl feels when she looks at those meetups, when she goes there and she finds that it's all men, and maybe she feels like, oh, there's something holding me back, or I can't really contribute to this community. They're all far ahead, and maybe I can't do it. So my idea now is just to build this support system, even online, and of girls, because I've seen it in girls' events. They're more comfortable when it's just a girls-only event. They just more comfortable. They relate to them. They talk about their problems. They expect them to listen, to give suggestions and all. But they're not willing to do that in females event.
In a male dominant, yeah. So I get that it's actually a male dominant society even here in the U.S.
Yes. It's actually, it was like surprising for me, because it's the Silicon Valley. I was like, everybody will be into technology. And back home, we had a lot of girls in technology, just because when you have a high, when you graduate from high school with a high GPA,
exactly.
you will go, like, you have two things, engineering and medicine. Mm-hmm. Like engineering, IT is the best. That's what they say back home. IT is the
it's
best.
clean, it's easy, and you don't get to mix up with people so much.
Yeah, and it's just like you get to do whatever you want on your laptop, and you'll get a decent job, good payment for like compared to there.
Yes.
Good payment. But so a lot of girls go into technology. Mm-hmm. But I had like 50%, my class had 50% girls, 50% boys. Uh-huh. And here you find like there's 20% girls in a class, and even 8% sometimes. And you go into tech events and you find like there are 3 or 4 girls there. And okay, there's no line at the bathroom, but it's just depressing. Like when you see it, like, I want to see more girls. Why aren't they engaging here? And it's just puzzling me. So I started going into more girls events, and I started like, sometimes I just stand there and listen. I just want to see how they interact, what are they saying? And it's just, I started forming these theories about that they need a support system, and that they're afraid of the male dominant thing, and that they're intimidated or something. Then I found out, like, even from high school, they're not even interested at a young age. Mm-hmm. They don't think it's cool because of the way IT is talked about here. It's just when you think about technology, and when you think about web development or whatever kind of coding is out there, they think about somebody who's not handsome, who's wearing those glasses,
the geeky stereotype, and
and who can't communicate with anybody except for their laptop. And they're like, it's not cool. What is cooler? Like going to the mall or going to a programming class? Of course, going to a mall. So I'm like, I started thinking how to solve it from a young age, and technovation is part of it. Actually introducing young girls to technology and having female speakers, because seriously, when you think about it, we don't have female role models to look up to. It's always a guy that's speaking at an event or something.
Well, in the
Recently,
tech
we
industry,
started,
yes.
yeah.
In the tech industry, if
Exactly.
we start to review the list of the top 10 influential people, we'll probably count 10 guys at the top of the list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the sad part. Currently, we have more females, like Marissa Mayer, like Megan Smith, like all these girls that not many are talking about as well.
Right.
So I just started like thinking that technovation is part of it, because we have speakers, female speakers, that come and talk about their story. And we had brilliant questions from the girls. I was just looking at them, asking all these questions about the market, like big questions, big business questions about the market, how to deal, how to differentiate between their products and everybody else, how to compete, how should they think about their users. And I was like, they're brilliant. Why are they thinking about this, like to move forward? And actually, some girls want to study technology because of this now. Oh. They're like, we didn't even know there aren't many girls in technology. Nobody told us. Like, now we know. I want to do this.
Great. So from that perspective, I was going to ask you about your vision into the future. Where do you see things heading?
Yeah, well, for me, I would see myself like, I always looked at myself, like even from a young age, I always looked at myself as a successful businesswoman at a certain point of my life. I would love to have like my own project, my own successful startup, and I would love to have a project that targets only girls in technology. I want to focus on that. I would like to see more girls stepping up, and actually like I would love to go to a conference and actually see more speakers, more female speakers, because there aren't many currently. I would see that in 5 years I would see like at least 30% of the speakers would be females. I would want to be able to actually invest in other startups and to be able to help other startups. I would like to create some sort of a connection between the Silicon Valley and Palestine, for people in Palestine to like I don't know, maybe like get mentors in the Silicon Valley, have somebody to talk to like all the time whenever they have a problem, that have more experience. Because back in Palestine, people who have more experience, like you can count them on your hands.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would like to help back home and here. I would love, but mostly I'm really interested about girls.
So most of your ideas are about helping others. Any big projects of your own?
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I would love to have a project of my own. Currently, what I'm thinking of is I want to be involved in augmented reality, connecting the physical and the online world together. I would love to be part of that. I would love to because people are getting away from like the physical world and communicating, any sort of communication around them with the people and with the things around them. I would love to be able to create this connection through technology, like back to connecting with our surrounding. So this is something I would like to build, but I want to build the skills required to be able to build this.
Indeed, it's the first step, and you've probably taken the most important of these steps by starting to build your own background and starting to absorb the techniques and the spirit from the market. I commend you for what you've been doing, and I really love the way you speak of things passionately.
That's because I'm passionate about it. I finally found something that I really love. Like I'm super excited about what I'm doing currently. And it's just like, if you talked to me a couple of weeks ago, I was somehow like lost. I wanted to help, and I didn't know how. I wanted to build something of my own, and I didn't know how. But then I was just like, I gathered all the information, I gathered everything I worked on. What's the most thing I was excited about? And it's just like, it just happened. I'm happy this way. Oh.
Well, and we're happy to see you with that much of energy, especially that your plans involve reconnecting the Middle East, our own people, with the resources in here, and probably giving them the pathways, the channels, the roads that they can use to travel or to navigate this thing. They think it's difficult, but I bet with the kind of mentality, the survival mentality that they have over there, and a lot of intelligence, a lot of ideas, and a lot of energy like yours, they'll be able to do a lot of things.
Hopefully, like I would love to see that happening. Yeah.
We definitely like to see that. How do you like California so far? I guess
It's awesome. There's so much to do around here. A lot of events, a lot of people to meet, a lot of startups to hear about, a lot of books to read. So it's been amazing.
it is the hub, and with the kind of passion that like the one you have, you probably have the best chance of meeting people, of listening to people. I congratulate you again, and I wish that you fulfill the dream that you had and have in your head, that it materializes and it turns into something productive for yourself, for the community here in the Bay Area, and for the community back home in Palestine. Thank you for sharing these ideas. Thank you for sharing this energy with us. And I wish that people who heard you and heard these brilliant ideas gain something out of it and realize that with enough enthusiasm, with enough determination, nothing is impossible.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Thanks again.